Hello, Dan Ihrke from DT Systems, Dog Training Equipment, and the Gun Dog Success System here with Rooster. And today we're going to teach you how to teach your dog to work out of a boat. So the items that you're going to need are the tab that you've seen in the other videos, choke chain with a small lead, dummy of choice, whatever your dog likes, and a good e-collar system, plus some sort of a John boat that you can pull on land. You also may want to add some decoys. Start out by working on some basic obedience around the boat. Heel. Get your dog working nicely around the boat. Then use your tab to get him into the boat. By moving in first, the dog will be confident that it's okay to get into the boat. Good. Once he gets in the boat, you can either give him a treat, sit, or you can throw a retrieve, sit. Practice your obedience, having the dog sit inside of the boat. Heel, sit. Practice calling your dog in and out of the boat. Heel, sit. Good. Sit. Heel. Use appropriate obedience corrections with your e-collar, or if the dog gets confused at any time, you can use the tab to help simplify. Sit. Heel. Sit. Once your dog will get in and out of the boat reliably, then practice throwing retrieves, just as we did in the other videos. Once the dog does the obedience right, then he gets a steady retrieve. Sit. Rooster. Practice throwing the retrieves out of one side of the boat so the dog learns an entrance area, heel, sit, and an exit area, sit. In this case, I'm using this area right here, sit. Make sure that it is a stable, flat surface that the dog's sitting on. The challenge of the new obstacle might cause some obedience infractions. Just work your way through it, and remember, with enough repetition, your dog will learn to get in and be excited to get in because he knows he's going to get a retrieve. Rooster. Once your dog has achieved going in and out of the boat for retrieves with consistency, then practice sit, leaving the dog in the boat and placing decoys around the boat. Watch your dog as you do this and make an appropriate correction if he decides to get out while you're doing this. Sit. Okay, I gave him a collar correction. Sit. Remember, guys, you have to watch your dog during these operations or you will not be able to get a timely correction in. Good. Once your dog becomes stable with the decoys out, then you can run him through your decoy spread. Rooster. Heel. Sit. No, sit. Good boy. Good. Out. Now we're going to position our boat in the water in an area where the boat is fairly stable. Remember, the first time your dog gets in an unstable boat, it's going to be a learning experience. So we want to keep it as simple as possible and not intimidate our dog. So let's try to move the boat into an area where we can get some stability. So here I'm using some vegetation to kind of stabilize the boat. Now we've positioned the boat in a stable area such that when the dog gets on the boat for the first time, it's not going to rock back and forth too much. Also, it's in an area that's not really deep such that when the dog jumps out the first time, it's going to be coordinated. He'll get his feet on a little bit of ground and he'll have a nice coordinated entry, and he can be more coordinated when he comes back. Let's work on getting him in and out with our obedience. Heel. Good boy. Sit. Good. Heel. As you can see, we're utilizing the tab. We don't want to make a lot of e-collar corrections ever when we're training our dog to do something the first time. So we're using the physical control of the lead. Heel. Sit. Good. Once you can get your dog in and out reliably, now you can give the dog a retrieve when he gets in. Sit. Sit. Rooster. Now there's a couple different techniques of helping your dog get into the boat. The first technique involves you staying inside of the boat. Get into a lower posture like this to coax him to come back to the correct place. Heel. Good. And as he gets close to the boat, put your hand on top of his collar and help him in. Good. Sit. Good. Shake. Sit. If you're having trouble with that technique, you might want to step out of the boat to be able to help the dog a little better get into the boat. Sit. Sit. Rooster. Heel. Good boy. Good boy. Good. Good. Use your tab. Kennel, come on. Help the dog in. Sit. Good. If your dog drops the bumper during this time, just make an appropriate force fetch correction and repeat until you get a success. Sit. Linking the retrieve to the performance will cause your dog to realize that by working nicely out of the boat, he's likely to get more retrieving. And the dog will become motivated to work out of the boat a little bit more each time. Sit. Rooster. Once your dog is confident and excited to work in and out of the boat and will retrieve reliably, you can practice putting decoys in the water while your dog's watching. Remember, this is an obedience procedure, so make sure you have the ability to reinforce. And in this case, I'm using the wrap collar. So if my dog moves, I'm going to give him a very light correction, and I'm going to catch him with the timing. So as I'm putting these decoys out, I'm ready to make a correction for the dog breaking the sit command. Sit. And without doing this step, trust me guys, if the dog hasn't seen this, he's going to make a mistake. So practice it now before you get out there when you need your dog to be reliable. Sit. I'm deliberately throwing these close to him to tempt him to break, so he can learn that if I toss the decoys, he's not supposed to go after them. Now that the decoys are out, we can work them through the spread. Rooster. You can make as big of a decoy spread as you want. Soon your dog will be reliably retrieving in and out of the boat and through the decoys. Heel. Come on. Good. Sit. Once you've achieved being able to allow your dog to work in and out of the boat through decoys, you can transition this into having your dog work out of your actual duck boat and maybe up and down the ramp. This will give him enough information to understand the concepts so he can be successful for you out of the real boat when really waterfowl hunting.